Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the best Mario Kart game to date. Sorry, Mario Kart Wii fans. Since I love the game so much, I wanted to look at what my favorite and least favorite tracks are. My thoughts on a track are usually based on one question: how fun is it to play on? Don't forget that favorite doesn't mean best, so my favorite tracks doesn't mean I think they're the best tracks in the whole game. Got it? Let's get started. Starting off with my favorite tracks, my fifth favorite track in the game is Sunshine Airport. To be honest, I'm not sure why I like Sunshine Airport so much. Maybe it's the incredible music, which is one of my favorite songs in the game. Or it could be the fact that I think an airport is a really cool idea for a Mario Kart track. Whatever it is, I can say that I almost never have a bad time playing this track, unlike I do with a lot of others. It's always just pure fun, and that's why it's my fifth favorite. And moving on, my fourth favorite track in the game is Excite Bike Arena. Excite Bike Arena is one of those tracks you just don't rage over. Tracks like Rainbow Road and Neo Bowser City can often make me mad, but this track, never. I think the reason I like this track so much is because of all the tricks you do. All the ramps make it so much fun. And my favorite part about this track is having a mushroom when you get to the turns and using them on the grass, because you always pass so many people. One time I legit went from like 9th to 1st just from using a mushroom. And that's why this is my fourth favorite track. And at the number 3 spot, my third favorite track in the game is Big Blue. Big Blue is one of those tracks that just cannot be beaten. It's one of the tracks that's just one long track split into 3 laps, which are always the best ones in my opinion. Also, this track is based off of F-Zero, so it gets respect from me for that, and a lot of unique points too. Mute City is also based off of F-Zero, but I think this track is so much more interesting. The speed, the water section on lap 2, all of the turns, just everything about this track is fun. And that's why it is my third favorite track in the game. Moving on, my second favorite track in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is Toad Harbor. Toad Harbor is a track that I feel isn't talked about too much. Ever since I played this track for the first time, it immediately became my favorite. It really feels like you're driving through a city on the coast with shops, entertainment, and of course, boats. And I have to add that the music on this track is just amazing. Also, this track oddly reminds me of DS Delfino Square in Mario Kart Wii, which was one of the best Wii tracks in my opinion, so that boosts it up for me a lot. I remember playing Mario Kart Wii way too much as a kid. And finally, my favorite track in the game would have to be Mount Wario. Mount Wario. What else really is there to say about this track? Just like Big Blue, it's another track that is completely split into 3 laps, except it is one entire track. Lap 1 starts you off at the peak of the mountain. Lap 2 has you going through several different locations, like down a stream of running water and through a forest. And last but not least, lap 3 concludes the entire descent going down the mountain. And all 3 of these laps just add up together to make a really, really dang good track. A track so good that it is actually my favorite in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And that concludes the list of my top 5 favorite tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but you know what it's time for now. We're moving on to my 5 least favorite tracks. Kicking off the list is my 5th least favorite track, which is Water Park. I'm not sure exactly what I don't like about Water Park, but I just think it is not very good in comparison to so many other tracks in this incredible game, honestly. For one, the music just doesn't stick out to me very much. I would say that the track layout as a whole does not stick out to me very much. Water levels in Mario games usually don't work, and this one is no exception. Well, it does work, but not in a way that will actually make me like the track. And that is why it's my 5th least favorite track in the game. At number 4, we have my 4th least favorite track in the game, which is Donut Plains 3. Donut Plains 3 is a track I feel like I shouldn't dislike as much as I do. I think for me, the track has a bad layout. What I mean by this is that there are skips everywhere. And while that can be fun on some tracks, it's just not fun for this one. Also, the ground is wet and has really slippery physics, which makes drifting extremely annoying. And all of these things combined makes Donut Plains 3 my 4th least favorite track in the game. At the next spot, we have my 3rd least favorite track in the game, Dry Desert. As we all know by now, desert levels are almost never interesting, but this one takes the cake for being the most boring in my opinion. The track layout has nothing special, with barely any turns to keep it exciting. The track is also long, and when a long track is boring, that just makes it even worse. Also, there isn't anything great to look at, unlike most tracks in the game, because you're quite literally driving in the middle of nowhere. And next up, my 2nd least favorite track in the game is Ice Ice Outpost. I have a challenge for you. Name one good thing about Ice Ice Outpost. The design? Nope. The look? Also nope. The music? I guess. The point is, Ice Ice Outpost is a track that has absolutely nothing going for it. It's so boring. It's one of those tracks that I genuinely forgot was in the game for a split second. And when that happens, that's how you know a track is definitely not memorable. Also, just for a second, can we talk about how the shortcuts on this track practically do not work? It's so weird, but you have to be lined up almost perfectly just to do the shortcuts in this track. They're so jank. And we have finally made it to my number 1 least favorite track in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is Bone Dry Dunes. Where do I even start? There's so much not to like about Bone Dry Dunes. It's a desert track with a mediocre look and an extremely annoying track layout. The game just doesn't want you to play properly because the wavy sand makes you move on the track in weird ways. At least that's what happens to me. Many of the things that make tracks so much fun, like shortcuts and unique sections, just don't exist in this track. I could go on and on about why I don't like Bone Dry Dunes, but for now it's my least favorite track in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. There's not much competition because so many of the tracks in this game are just phenomenal. And that's the end of this video. Was there anything you agreed or disagreed with? Let me know in the comments. This video took a while to make, so liking and subscribing would be greatly appreciated. The clips in this video came from the channel MK8DX Records, so I'll link them in the description. Anyways, bye everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.